Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. So in this lecture, we're going to be covering altering tables, update data, delete data, and some complex operations. So I've created this another assignment. It's very similar to the assignment that's due this Sunday for you guys, assignment 8. I believe that's what it's called. Excuse me. We're going to be working with a database called Melody Masters, and it is already created on Chelan for everybody if you want to practice. So we're going to go one task at a time, and I'll show you how everything is working. And by doing that, you'll be seeing how to finish your own assignment. So the first task we have is actually the first two tasks. I'm going to go and copy this, and I'm going to go over to Chelan. I'll paste that over there. And then I'll show you how to write code for these two. So the first one is alter tables. So we're going to be altering two tables. We have two tables with Melody Masters. One is albums, one is artist. So let's go. I'm going to go and share my screen for Chelan. Give me just a moment. Excuse me. All right. So this is Melody Masters database name right here, and it had two tables. I have excuse me, albums table and artist table, and in here they want us to add a column, and then they want us to add another column in here. So let me just a moment. All right, so excuse me. Let's get started. So we're going to be adding a column to artist, and we're going to be adding in a column for albums. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to paste the query that we were supposed to write. So to add a comment in here that will be ignored, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add two dashes, and we need to write I'll go and copy that one again. We'll do one at a time. All right, so add a new column to the albums table named album cover URL. So first thing we need to do is we need to tell the database that we're going to be altering something. So we need to do alter keyword, alter a name of the table. So we need to alter a table and then the name of the table. So in this case, we're going to be excuse me. Albums is the name of the table, so you can actually check this right here. That's the name of the table, so we're going to be altering that. Albums. Next thing we need is we need to add a column. So if you need to drop a column or delete a column, instead of add, you would do drop. So that would actually delete the column. So in this one, we're going to be adding a column, and the name of the column is album covers right here. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in, album underscore cover underscore URL. And then we need when we're adding something, we need to define the data type for this column. So in this case, we'll stick with varchar. We'll keep it capital so it doesn't freak out. Varchar, and we're going to do 255. So that's actually 256 characters. It starts with 0. So just like this. So it's going to add a column right now. So I'm going to run it, and it's executed. You can go to designer. I'm going to ignore this. And then I have a column right here. This is the one that was just added. It wasn't there before. If you look at it, there'll be no data in there because we just added the column and there's no data in there. Now we need to add a column in here. So I'm going to copy the instructions from my document file and add it here. So actually going to delete this one. Just did that one. And now we need to do this one. Add a new column to artist table named biography. So we need to add a column to artist table named biography. Now we need the similar alter table artist. That's the name of the table we're altering. And in this case, we need to add something, right? So we need to add a column, and then you need to define which column and the data type for that. So in this case, we need biography. So I'm just going to copy this name. I'm going to paste it here, and then I need to define the data type. In this case, I'm just going to keep it text. This is up to you. I don't think the the assignment actually asks you. They don't actually tell you what data type they want. So this is up to you. Whatever you want. Make sure it is text. So biography could be long or could be short. So I'm going to run this. So if you don't want this to disappear, what you can do is you can check this box right here, the retain query box. So what's going to happen is it's going to run it, and the result will be at the bottom, and the query, whatever you typed in here. So let's say if you made a mistake or anything like that, you can actually come back and change it, and everything stays the same. So it did run it, everything worked. We can go to designer, and we can actually look at the new column we just added, which is biography, and it is text. All right. So let's go back to the assignment and let's see what's the next task. Let me reshare that screen. All right, so we just did these two right here. The next one we have is update data. So we're going to be updating some data. So these two right here, we're going to be doing this. So let's do one at a time. So I'm going to copy this and go over to my Shilin right here, and I'm going to be pasting that in here. All right. So now this is like a comment. So this will be ignored by the compiler when the SQL runs. So this is like plain English. Okay. So for the album with album ID equals to 3, update the price to a new value of $12.99 and the stock quantity to 40. So we need to update two things, right? So we need to update the price, which is going to be this. We don't care what the old price is. We're just going to update it to this new one. And the stock quantity, that's one of the columns. And we need to update that to 40 wherever album ID equals to 3. So if this equals to 3, we need to do two things. Okay. So now we need to update some data. So if you're adding a column, deleting a column, you're going to use alter. But if you're updating the data itself, you need the update command. So this is going to be update command, and you need to define the table. In this case, they tell you which table. This is going to be album table, and I think it's called albums. Albums, right? So update albums, and we're going to set price. Let's see, price. So albums, if you expand this, you have a price column right here. So price is there. Price, we're going to set that to equals to $12.99. That's what they're telling us to do. And remember, updating two things, right? So one is price, the other one is the stock quantity. And I'm going to use the column name that they gave me right here, quantity, and we're going to set that to 40. Where, now this is where we need to define which line you need to update, right? So where album ID equals to 3. So I'm just going to copy this right here, and I'm going to paste it right here. And now we update it, and it should be updated now. If you want, we can go back to go to the database and we can look at it. So what we did browse the albums, and it was 3. Album ID is 3 right here, and it was updated to $12.99 and quantity is 40. So it worked. All right. So let's go back. The next task, let me go and copy that over. The next task is update nationality of all artists named Adele to British. So I'm gonna go and type that in there. update nationality of all artists named Adele to British. So it's going to be similar to what we did earlier. We're going to do update, name of the table. We're updating that table. We're going to set nationality, nationality column to British, and where artist, let's see, we have columns, we have artist name right here. So we're going to use that. We're going to say artist underscore name equals to Adele. It's like this. Oh, so I use double quotes and single quotes, so it's complaining. So I'm going to use single quotes all around, right? So I'm going to run this, and it worked, and it updated where for Adele it updated nationality to British. All right. So I'm gonna leave this and go back to my assignment, and let's see what's the next task. So the next task is, I'm going to copy that over so I don't have to keep sharing the screen again and again. So the next task is delete some data. I'm deleting some data. And there's been a licensing issue with all albums by the artist with artist ID equals to 10. Remove all albums from the albums table related to this artist. So they want us to delete a row, right? So they want us to delete all the information related to artist ID where when artist ID equals to 10. So we're going to be deleting that. So we're going to use the delete command. So we're going to delete from which table is it? Albums. So we're going to use the albums table. And we're going to do where artist underscore ID equals to 10. So it's going to delete the whole row. Right. I'm going to run this, and it worked. Well, it says 0 row was affected. I don't think I have any artists with 10 in there right now, so that's why it says 0 rows were affected. Let's do 1. Run this. Yeah. So one row was affected. Artist 1 was deleted. Right. So for your homework, if you're getting this 0 rows were affected, I don't think I have a lot of data in there. So if you get 0 rows affected, but the query is running and it's making sense, that is fine. Just turn it in, and then you should be okay. All right. So now let's move on to complex operations. So now what they're asking is this right here. I'm going to go ahead and copy that over to Shiland. Make sure which screen am I sharing. Okay, good. Delete this one. And what I'm going to do is paste that over here. So we have 2 operations. Let's do the first one together. So this is going to be increase the price of all jazz, genre jazz. So genre, wherever the genre is jazz, albums by 15%. So we're increasing the price, right? And you need to calculate 115% of the original price for each album and update it. So whatever the price is right now, we don't care what the price is. We're just going to increase it by 15%. That's what they want you to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to do update. Remember, we're setting a column to something, right? So we're going to do update albums, set price equals to. So now we have the price column, right? So we can get that from the column price. And what we're going to do is we're going to multiply with 1. If you multiply with 1, that's 100%. But if you multiply that with 1.15%, that is 115%. So that is you're actually increasing whatever the amount is by 15%. So that is just math, right? There are multiple ways to do it. If you did a different way, that is fine. But that is one of the ways. So where genre equals jazz, right? So I'm going to copy this and paste it in. I'm going to run it, and it says 0 rows were affected because I don't think I have any jazz genre in there. But this query works. That is the solution for what they're asking, right? So one thing one thing I want, excuse me, you should be doing before you start the assignment that you're working on right now. You can come in here to this is import, sorry, select on the database. So I think you're working on assignment 08 digital. That's the database you're using, but I'm going to give you example of Melody Masters, right? So what you can do is select this database right here and do export. So before you start the assignment, you can do an export of this. So go ahead and click on go, and it's going to make you download a SQL file. So that SQL file will be what the database looks like right now. So remember, you have to change all the changes that you made. You have to revert all the changes back to how you found it. So one way to do that is this. You can export it. I'll give you a SQL file. So let me go ahead and save it, and I'll share my screen and show you what that looks like. Let me open up that file. All right, so once you download that file, this is what it looks like. This is a SQL file that's downloaded. What this is doing is it's creating tables, albums table. It's adding some data into it. Whatever the data they have right now, that's what they're going to be adding. And whatever the columns that exist right now, that's what they're creating those columns and adding the same data that exists right now. So if you go and modify any of that data, then you're going to be, excuse me, what you can do is you can download this, and after you're done with the assignment, what you need to do is you need to add these two lines up at top. So for your table, for your database, you just need to change this name to database, and these two lines would work. So what this is doing, this is deleting the whole database. This is going to delete the database, and then it's going to create it. It's going to create the database. Then after creating the database, it's going to create the tables, insert data into the tables, create the second table, insert the data into the second table, and all the dependencies are at the bottom, like auto increment, any primary key, any foreign key, that's all at the bottom. So that's one way to revert the database how you found it. So you go ahead and save the SQL file first, then go ahead and make the changes, and then after you're done making the changes, go ahead and revert the database back to how you found it. So now this is SQL file right here. You can import this into Chelan. So I'm going to let me go ahead and show you. So click on localhost, just like this. Remember, we're still on Chelan. Go to SQL. Make sure no database is selected. And here, what you're going to do is go to import and go to choose file, and you're going to choose that file that you downloaded, just like this, and you're going to run it. So it's going to run it. There's errors. It might give you errors at the bottom. Just ignore that. But everything ran, and it was reverted back to how I found it. Remember, I actually didn't. I downloaded this before I made any changes. So I'm sorry, I didn't download it before I started making changes, but the first thing you should be doing is downloading this export file. The other way you could do it, if you don't want to make any changes and you don't want to revert anything back to how you found it, you can just do an export of this SQL file, and you can go ahead and import this to your local host shell. And you can go and make any changes to that database and nobody will have access to it except you. So if you want to do it that way, that is perfectly fine. So there are two ways you can do it, but both of the ways you actually need to export the database how you found it first, and then start doing whatever you want to do. Okay. So if you have any questions, any concerns, let me know. And you have access to this database, and I'll be uploading the sample assignment as well. So if you need to practice that, go ahead and do that.